The story begins in the gleaming, modern skyscraper that housed Sterling Innovations. Inside, Amelia dusted desks and emptied trash cans, moving with a quiet grace that went unnoticed by the bustling employees. She was a ghost in their world, a necessary presence but never truly seen. Her uniform, a simple blue jumpsuit, blended into the background, much like Amelia herself. She preferred it that way. Tension made her skin crawl. Amelia wasn't unintelligent. Far from it. She devoured books in her spare time, soaking up knowledge like a sponge. But a crippling shyness kept her silent, trapped in a world of her own making. She observed the comings and goings of the company, the triumphs and failures, the dramas and the celebrations, all from a safe distance. She knew the names of most of the employees, their roles, even some of their secrets gleaned from overheard conversations. Mr. Sterling, the CEO, was a figure of awe and respect, a whirlwind of energy and ambition. Amelia saw him often, pacing the halls, his brow furrowed in concentration, phone pressed to his ear. He was a brilliant man, she knew, but even brilliant men had their burdens. Amelia, with her quiet, observant nature, sensed the weight he carried, the immense pressure to keep Sterling Innovations at the top. She never imagined her paths would ever cross, or that she, the invisible janitor, would hold the key to saving his career. Mr. Sterling, on the other hand, was anything but invisible. He was a force of nature, a whirlwind of meetings, phone calls, and strategic decisions. His days were packed from sunrise to late into the night. He thrived on the pressure, the constant challenge of keeping Sterling Innovations ahead of the competition. He was a self-made man, having built the company from the ground up with nothing but hard work and a brilliant idea. But lately, the pressure had been crushing. A crucial deal, one that could secure the company's future for years to come, was hanging by a thread. A rival company was aggressively pursuing the same contract, and Mr. Sterling knew he had to pull out all the stops to win. He trusted his team, a collection of brilliant minds he had personally assembled. But even their combined expertise seemed insufficient to overcome the latest hurdle. He had been burning the midnight oil, poring over reports, attending countless meetings, and racking his brain for a solution. Sleep was a luxury he could no longer afford. The stress was etched on his face, the bags under his eyes growing darker with each passing day. He was desperate, running out of time and ideas. He just needed that one missing piece of information. He needed a miracle. One evening, as Amelia was cleaning Mr. Sterling's office, she overheard a phone conversation that made her stop in her tracks. He was talking to a colleague, his voice laced with frustration and desperation. "I don't know what to do," he admitted, his usual confident tone replaced with vulnerability. "The presentation is tomorrow, and we're still missing that key piece of data. Without it, we'll lose the deal. All our hard work, all the sacrifices, it will all be for nothing." Amelia froze, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew a little about the deal. Snippets of conversations she'd overheard, articles she'd read online during her lunch breaks. She understood the importance of the presentation, the potential impact it would have on the company, on the employees, on their families. As she quietly resumed her cleaning, Amelia couldn't shake off the weight of Mr. Sterling's words. She felt a strange sense of empathy for him, a shared understanding of the burden of responsibility. She knew she should just finish her work and leave, but something inside her wouldn't let her. She couldn't ignore the desperation in his voice, the fear of failure that resonated so deeply within her. An idea began to form in her mind, a daring, almost impossible idea. Could she, the invisible janitor, actually help him? That night, Amelia couldn't sleep. Mr. Sterling's words echoed in her mind. She tossed and turned, her shyness warring with her desire to help. Finally, she made a decision. She slipped out of bed and tiptoed to her small, cluttered desk. Opening her laptop, she began to research the problem. She remembered specific keywords from Mr. Sterling's conversation and used them to guide her search. Hours passed. The sky outside her window began to lighten. Amelia, fueled by coffee and determination, delved deeper and deeper into the intricacies of the deal. She scoured online databases, read industry reports, and analyzed complex datasets. Her years of quiet observation and voracious reading had prepared her for this moment. She understood the problem, and she believed she had found the solution. Using her limited technical skills, Amelia compiled her findings into a comprehensive report. She meticulously cited her sources and presented her analysis in a clear, concise manner. It was a brilliant piece of work, a testament to her hidden intelligence and unwavering dedication. As the sun rose, she printed the report, her hands trembling with a mixture of excitement and fear. Now, she just needed to get it to Mr. Sterling without revealing her identity. It was a risky plan, but she was determined to try. The next morning, Amelia arrived at work earlier than usual. The office was still mostly empty, the silence amplifying her nervousness. Clutching the report, she made her way to Mr. Sterling's office. Her heart pounded in her chest with every step. She peeked inside. The room was empty. Taking a deep breath, she slipped inside and placed the report on his desk, right in the center, where he couldn't miss it. She hesitated for a moment, wanting to see his reaction, but the fear of being discovered was too overwhelming. She quickly retreated, disappearing back into the shadows. Later that morning, Mr. Sterling arrived at his office, his face etched with exhaustion. He slumped into his chair, dreading the day ahead. He glanced at his desk and noticed the report. A plain white folder with no name, no indication of its origin. Curious, he opened it and began to read. As he delved deeper into the report, his eyes widened with each page. The information was precise, insightful, and exactly what he needed. It was the missing piece of the puzzle, the key to unlocking the deal. A wave of relief washed over him, followed by an intense sense of gratitude. He didn't know who had written the report, but they had just saved his career. He knew instantly that this report contained the winning formula. Armed with Amelia's report, Mr. Sterling felt a surge of confidence. He immediately called his team and shared the information, incorporating it into the presentation. The team was amazed by the insight and accuracy of the data. They worked tirelessly to refine the presentation, knowing that this was their chance to secure the deal. That afternoon, Mr. Sterling stood before the potential investors, a renewed sense of purpose in his eyes. He delivered the presentation with passion and conviction, presenting the data with clarity and precision. He answered every question with confidence, thanks to the comprehensive research provided in the anonymous report. Amelia, meanwhile, nervously cleaned the hallway outside the conference room, her ears straining to hear any snippets of the presentation. She could feel the tension in the air, the weight of expectation. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the doors to the conference room opened. Mr. Sterling emerged, a broad smile on his face. He gave his team a thumbs up, and a collective cheer erupted. The deal was sealed. Sterling Innovations had won. Amelia, hidden in the shadows, allowed herself a small, private smile. She had done it. She had helped save the company. Mr. Sterling, elated and grateful, knew he had to find the person responsible for the report. He wanted to thank them personally and reward them for their brilliance. He immediately announced a company-wide search for the anonymous hero. The announcement sent ripples of excitement and speculation through Sterling Innovations. Everyone was buzzing about the anonymous hero and the substantial reward Mr. Sterling was offering. A promotion, a significant salary increase, and public recognition for their contribution. Amelia, however, felt a wave of panic wash over her. The very thing she had tried to avoid was now happening. All eyes were on the search for the anonymous author, and she knew it was only a matter of time before someone discovered her secret. Her shyness intensified, making her even more withdrawn than usual. She avoided eye contact with her colleagues, fearing they would see the truth in her eyes. She tried to blend in, to become even more invisible than before. She started taking different routes through the office, avoiding the main hallways and sticking to the less frequented areas. The reward was tempting, of course. The money would solve many of her problems, allowing her to pursue her dreams and finally escape her mundane existence. But the thought of standing in the spotlight, of facing the attention and scrutiny of her colleagues, filled her with dread. She simply couldn't bring herself to come forward. She decided to remain hidden, even if it meant sacrificing the reward and the recognition she deserved. The quiet anonymity she had always cherished was more valuable to her than any amount of money. As the search intensified, several employees, eager for the reward, began to falsely claim authorship of the report. One particularly ambitious marketing executive, Mr. Davies, presented a hastily assembled collection of vaguely related documents, claiming they were the research notes he used to write the report. Mr. Sterling, however, was not easily fooled. He peppered Mr. Davies with detailed questions about the data, the methodology, and the specific insights presented in the report. Mr. Davies, flustered and unprepared, stumbled over his answers, revealing his lack of knowledge. Mr. Sterling saw through his charade immediately. Another employee, a junior analyst named Sarah, also tried to take credit, but her explanation was even less convincing. She claimed to have worked on the report during her lunch breaks, but her colleagues quickly pointed out that she always spent her lunch hours playing online games. These false claims created a series of comical and awkward situations. Mr. Sterling, though frustrated by the dishonesty, couldn't help but find some amusement in the desperate attempts to claim the reward. He knew the real author was out there, watching all this unfold, and he was determined to find them, no matter how long it took. He started paying closer attention to everyone, observing their behavior, searching for any clue that might lead him to the truth. He knew the person who wrote that report possessed a rare combination of intelligence, insight, and dedication, and he was determined to find them. Mr. Sterling's attention began to drift towards Amelia. He noticed her quiet efficiency, the way she seemed to anticipate his needs before he even voiced them. He observed her reading during her breaks, always engrossed in complex books that seemed far beyond the scope of her job. He also remembered seeing her in the office late one night, the same night the report appeared. He started engaging her in small conversations, asking her about her interests and her opinions. He noticed that she was incredibly intelligent and thoughtful, despite her shyness. She always had insightful observations, delivered in a soft, hesitant voice. He also noticed that she seemed to know a lot more about the company and its operations than he would have expected from a janitor. One day, he casually mentioned the missing data that had threatened the deal. Amelia's eyes flickered for a moment, a subtle reaction that didn't escape Mr. Sterling's notice. He began to suspect that Amelia knew more than she was letting on. He couldn't shake the feeling that she was somehow connected to the anonymous report. He decided to observe her more closely, to see if he could uncover the truth. He started leaving subtle clues in his conversations, hoping to trigger a reaction, anything that would confirm his suspicions. He knew it was a long shot, but he had a strong feeling that Amelia was the key to solving the mystery. As the deadline for claiming the reward drew closer, Amelia felt increasingly conflicted. The pressure was mounting. She saw the posters plastered around the office, the constant reminders of the reward and the ongoing search. She knew Mr. Sterling was getting closer to the truth, his subtle questions and probing glances making her increasingly uncomfortable. She also saw the impact the deal had had on the company. Employees were more optimistic, new projects were being launched, and the atmosphere was generally more positive. She knew she had played a part in that success, and a small part of her wanted to be recognized for her contribution. But the fear of exposure, of stepping outside her comfort zone, was still overwhelming. She imagined the attention, the interviews, the speeches. The thought made her stomach churn. She considered quitting her job, disappearing completely, but she knew that wouldn't solve anything. She couldn't run away from her shyness forever. She started having nightmares, vivid dreams where she was standing on a stage, surrounded by bright lights, unable to speak. She woke up each morning in a cold sweat, her heart pounding in her chest. She knew she had to make a decision one way or the other. The clock was ticking, and the final day was fast approaching. She felt trapped, caught between her desire for recognition and her crippling shyness. On the final day, the atmosphere in Sterling Innovations was electric. Everyone was waiting for the anonymous author to reveal themselves. Mr. Sterling had called an all-company meeting, setting the stage for a grand reveal. Amelia, hiding in the back of the room, felt her heart pounding in her chest. She was a prisoner of her own shyness, unable to break free and claim what was rightfully hers. Mr. Sterling took to the stage, his presence commanding attention. He began to speak, his voice filled with sincerity and emotion. He talked about the importance of teamwork, the power of individual contributions, and the value of honesty and integrity. He emphasized that helping others, even when it was difficult or uncomfortable, was the most rewarding thing a person could do. He shared his own struggles, his own fears, and his own moments of doubt. He confessed that he hadn't always been the best leader, the most understanding colleague, or the most compassionate person. He admitted that he had learned a lot from the anonymous report, not just about the deal, but about the importance of recognizing the hidden talents and potential within each individual. He looked out at the crowd, his eyes searching for the person who had changed everything. Amelia felt his gaze linger on her for a moment, and she knew he knew. He was giving her one last chance. Inspired by Mr. Sterling's words, a newfound courage began to bloom within Amelia. She realized that hiding her talent was not only unfair to herself but also a disservice to the company. She took a deep breath, her hands trembling, and began to step forward. The room was silent, all eyes fixed on Mr. Sterling. He paused, waiting, a knowing smile playing on his lips. Amelia pushed through the crowd, her heart pounding in her chest. The faces of her colleagues blurred around her. She could feel their stares, their curiosity, their surprise. Finally, she reached the front of the room, standing just a few feet away from Mr. Sterling. She lowered her gaze, unable to meet his eyes. "Mr. Sterling," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I wrote the report." A gasp rippled through the room. People whispered to each other, their expressions a mixture of disbelief and astonishment. Mr. Sterling stepped forward, his eyes filled with warmth and admiration. "Amelia," he said, his voice gentle and encouraging, "thank you for coming forward." He extended his hand, and Amelia, hesitantly, took it. His touch was surprisingly firm and reassuring. For the first time in a long time, Amelia felt seen, truly seen. The invisible janitor was finally visible. The secret was out. Mr. Sterling, beaming with pride, addressed the room. "As you all know," he said, "Amelia's report was instrumental in securing the deal that will shape the future of Sterling Innovations. Her intelligence, dedication, and insight are truly remarkable." He paused, allowing his words to sink in. "Therefore," he continued, "I am pleased to announce that Amelia will be promoted to a new position within the company, one that will allow her to utilize her talents to their fullest potential." He outlined Amelia's new role, a research analyst position, where she would be responsible for analyzing market trends, identifying new opportunities, and providing strategic insights to the company's leadership. It was a significant promotion, a testament to her hidden abilities. The room erupted in applause, a genuine expression of admiration and respect. Amelia, overwhelmed by the support, managed a small smile. She looked at Mr. Sterling, gratitude shining in her eyes. "And that's not all," Mr. Sterling added, raising his hand to quiet the crowd. "In addition to the promotion, Amelia will also receive a substantial salary increase, one that reflects the value she brings to this company." He winked at Amelia, a gesture that made her blush. He had more than kept his promise. He had exceeded her wildest expectations. She hadn't just saved his career, he had given her a new one. In the weeks that followed, Amelia underwent a remarkable transformation. The shy, invisible janitor began to blossom, her confidence growing with each passing day. She excelled in her new role, her analytical skills and insightful observations proving invaluable to the company. She quickly gained the respect of her colleagues, who now saw her not as the quiet cleaning lady, but as a brilliant and capable analyst. Mr. Sterling became a mentor to Amelia, guiding her, encouraging her, and helping her navigate the complexities of the corporate world. He recognized her potential and was determined to help her reach her full potential. He also learned a valuable lesson about the importance of looking beyond appearances, of recognizing the hidden talents that often lie dormant within individuals. Amelia, in turn, became a trusted advisor to Mr. Sterling, offering him a fresh perspective and a unique insight into the inner workings of the company. She was no longer afraid to voice her opinions, to challenge his assumptions, or to offer alternative solutions. An unlikely friendship blossomed between them, a bond forged in mutual respect and admiration. They often had lunch together, discussing everything from market trends to personal aspirations. Amelia learned about Mr. Sterling's journey to success, his struggles, and his triumphs. Mr. Sterling learned about Amelia's passion for learning, her dreams for the future, and her quiet determination to make a difference. Amelia, now confident and empowered, used her newfound position to help others in the company. She noticed the quiet struggles of her former colleagues in the janitorial department, the long hours, the low pay, and the lack of recognition. She championed their cause, advocating for better working conditions, fair wages, and opportunities for advancement. She also started a mentorship program, pairing experienced employees with newcomers, providing guidance and support to those who were just starting their careers. She wanted to ensure that no one else felt as invisible as she had once felt. She organized workshops and training sessions, sharing her knowledge and skills with others, empowering them to reach their full potential. She became a champion for diversity and inclusion, advocating for equal opportunities for everyone, regardless of their background or position. Mr. Sterling, inspired by Amelia's compassion and her commitment to helping others, supported her initiatives wholeheartedly. He realized that true success wasn't just about profits and market share, but about creating a positive and supportive work environment where everyone felt valued and respected. Sterling Innovations became known as a company that cared about its employees, a place where everyone had the opportunity to thrive. And it all started with a shy janitor who had the courage to step out of the shadows and share her hidden talents with the world. The company's success was now built not only on innovation but also on compassion and understanding. Years later, Amelia stood on the stage at the annual Sterling Innovations Gala, receiving an award for her outstanding contributions to the company. She looked out at the sea of faces, a diverse and inclusive group of employees, all thriving in their own unique ways. She smiled, knowing that she had played a part in creating this positive and supportive environment. Mr. Sterling, standing beside her, beamed with pride. He knew that Amelia's story was a testament to the power of human potential, a reminder that even the quietest person can make a big difference. He had learned a valuable lesson about the importance of looking beyond appearances, of recognizing the hidden talents that often lie dormant within individuals. Amelia's shyness had faded, replaced by a quiet confidence and a genuine warmth. She was no longer the invisible janitor, but a respected leader, a trusted advisor, and a dear friend. She had found her voice, her purpose, and her place in the world. The story of Amelia, the shy janitor who saved the millionaire CEO's career, became a legend within Sterling Innovations, a reminder that everyone has the potential to make a difference, no matter their background or position. It was a story of courage, compassion, and the transformative power of human connection. And it proved that even the quietest person can change the world, one small act of kindness at a time. The end.